Hello and welcome to Plains on the Prairie. I'm Sam, joined by Max, and today we have a kind of a new little podcast set up for you. So what we're going to do from as the need arises, we're going to just kind of give like a weekly just update on what's going on, talk about different things in the news in aviation, and we'll just kind of get your guys' intake afterwards on what we should do for future segments and things like that. So we'll be doing a lot more podcast episodes. You'll see our Spotify feed getting pretty busy. So yeah, we'll just kind of talk about a couple different topics. So what did you see last weekend, Max?
Well, I know we had talked about this in the pre-show, but we had two pretty big events in the aviation world happen. We had the Ingenuity Helicopter take off and land for the first time. What is it? The first time a craft has taken off and landed on another plane. Well, no, that's not true.
Well,
Because
technically, it's the
okay,
first
let's hear it.
powered. Um,
Okay,
there was the Vega missions the Soviets did on Venus in I believe it was not the best on my space knowledge, but I believe it was in the 70s. But they had balloons on Venus, and there are pictures of those like actually going. But the problem is I think it was something about their atmosphere just is so unbearably hot that the balloons melted and the craft kind of disintegrated basically or melted.
hmm
But yeah, it's a first, that's for sure.
yeah,
First on Mars. Definitely an interesting feat. Like, it's just with me being a pilot, having to know all these aerodynamics and things like that. It's very interesting. The rotorcraft aerodynamics have already piqued my interest quite a bit just on how like rotor blades work and things like that. And just compounding that with a completely different atmosphere that's mostly made up of carbon dioxide and
yeah.
that
Okay.
is just a little bit or a lot thinner. That's why you see those blades are proportionally larger to the actual like body of the craft. So
hmm
it's very, very interesting. So
Well, it's good that it was a success too. I mean, that was huge.
yeah, I have the video here. I'll share my screen here and just kind of play that for everybody. Credits go to NASA here for that. Um, but I will get that shared up here. So you can see that okay?
Yes.
All right. So it's a pretty straightforward flight. So it's 50, almost a minute long video. So we can see right down here is the craft. It's kind of blending in with the surface here. But you see it start up. There's two blades right there. And should lift off right there. It lifts
Oh,
off.
there it goes.
See, there it is. Basically, they're just doing a hover. And then you'll see the body of the craft rotate. And pretty soon here, it'll just come right back down. Really simple flight. Um, they are comparing this quite a bit to the Wright brothers' first flight on December 17th, 1903. It's the first on another planet. Um, Also, very straightforward, simple flight. Um, as you may know, is 12 seconds, 120 feet.
Yeah.
This one a little bit longer, but still very simple, straightforward. So pretty interesting. There's a really good article here. I'll put this in the link for this the podcast and the YouTube channel. You can see this one photo. It's a top
Oh yeah,
down
they
photo.
yep, the took the photo.
Yeah, pretty simplified. It happened this morning. Today is Monday the 19th, and it happened around, yeah, you can see 6:46 Eastern. So it happened just before 6 a.m. here in North Dakota, and I wasn't up for it. I actually had no idea it was going on this morning, but I I'm in a
You tell me
space.
you didn't hear it?
No, no, I didn't. I mean, it got rescheduled, I think, once.
Yeah, it did get rescheduled. I do remember seeing that.
Yeah.
Um, but like I'm in the same boat. Like I had heard that it was going to be going on. I was like, oh, like we'll hear about it eventually or something like
Yeah.
that.
So it's kind of interesting to see that. Went into, I think it was Facebook this morning after getting ready, and I was like, oh, took off today. It's kind of surprised. And of
Yeah.
course, it was at a really early time. Last time, I think it was at the original launch was scheduled for like 3 a.m. Central Time or
Oh,
something like that.
yeah.
I was like, I can't stay up
No.
for
Yeah.
that.
No one's going to stay up for
It was
that.
on like a Thursday, so but definitely a really cool thing. And
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
those of you who may follow me on at least Facebook, I shared an article a few weeks ago about how they actually have a scrap of the Wright Flyer on board that Ingenuity
Oh,
helicopter. So they took a
That's awesome.
tiny sliver of wood, or if it was a small piece it was really like basically microscopic.
Yeah.
But um, but that was pretty cool. And then they named that flat where it took off from Wright Brothers Field. So that was really cool. So cool
Just
tribute.
thinking, in 300 years, it's going to be a major spaceport.
Yeah. And
Or
you hear about it all over the place that people don't see the purpose in space flight and stuff. And really, I mean, I get it. Commercial space flight is really exciting to me because it's like, oh, if something fails, it's not our dollar. But also, it's just you're seeing all these technological advances, and we're living history. And I
oh
think
yeah,
I think it's a
absolutely.
really cool thing. I know a lot of people don't, but um, and I mean, we don't really need any further justification other than to say we could do it. So,
Yeah,
and I mean, there'll
absolutely.
be leaps and bounds more. There'll be other aircraft out there. There could be even a manned helicopter in the future, is what I heard. So that would be
Maybe
pretty
one
sweet.
day,
But
hopefully,
once
that'd
we
be
go to
awesome.
Mars, we'll hopefully have that opportunity. Maybe even with Artemis program going to the moon, there'll be something aviation. Well, it's all aerospace related, but something more
Oh yeah.
aviation related would be pretty cool. But yeah, pretty cool topic. You got any other thoughts on that?
No, kind of in the same boat. Like, if you know me, I am obsessed with like space,
Hmm.
astronomy, the planets, stars. I love it. It's just that my test scores never reflected that.
Oh,
So,
same here.
yeah. But I love space. So this is something that I always, or I shouldn't say always, but it's super cool to me. And like you said, people are like, oh well, why do we need to have space flight? Yada yada yada. Like, this is just like an amazing technological advancement for humans. It's
Right.
it's so cool. And at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, it might not affect life here on Earth right now, but years down the road, that's going to be just amazing. It's going to, I don't know. I think it's just a huge step forward for us.
Oh, for sure. It's amazing to see what we can do as humans and what our programs can do. It's everything's always going to evolve, so it's crazy to see what aviation's done. More so on like the avionics side and things like that. We see
Yeah,
a lot of things every year. Electrical power, biofuels, things like that. It's amazing. So,
for sure.
but yeah, there's another elephant in the room for warbird lovers.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you want to talk a little bit about that?
Uh, so, as many of the listeners of this podcast probably know, I believe was it in Florida,
Yeah, Cocoa
Valiant Air
Beach.
Command.
Yeah.
Yep. TBM Avenger, owned by the Valiant Air Command Museum, I believe,
Yep.
had to do a ditch just like not even 100 yards off the coast of a beach. And the pilot, we don't know his name, don't know anything like that, but he made an amazing landing and remarkably I mean, thank God he's okay. Thank God all the beachgoers are okay. But
Right.
like, lastly, the TBM for the most part is okay. Like,
Yeah.
it should be fixable.
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, that was a textbook ditching. I mean, I'm no expert on ditching, but you can tell he was as slow as possible. He had
Mm-hmm.
flaps dumped, he gear up. You don't want gear when you're ditching because
No.
what happens is you can flip the aircraft if you catch too much water on that initial impact. So it was textbook. I mean, the people look closer than they are. I mean,
Yeah.
and I mean, he had no. I mean, people can gripe about that all they want, but the result was probably the best they could get. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, apart from getting the engine going or not having the problem in the first place.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
yeah, it was a perfect ditching. I don't know if you saw the memes out there, but the guy is getting his Bose headsets or he's pulling the headset out of the plane. It's called a Bose A20. It's the
Oh,
kind of like
yeah.
it's the Cadillac of headsets basically, and he's getting the headset out of there, and I don't blame him one bit. People are giving him crap. That's an expensive. It's $1,000+ headset. I don't
Yeah.
blame him.
Gotta. If there's one thing I'm saving, it's that headset.
Yeah, he probably had a warranty on it, but I mean, still, it's just good to save it. So,
Yeah, for sure.
but
I couldn't help but make comparisons. Like, me and a friend were talking in the DMs like the day after it happened. That is not the first Avenger to be
no,
ditched
not at
into the
all.
ocean.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it reminds me of the classic funny quote: "There are more airplanes in the ocean than submarines in the sky."
yep,
So
yeah, and he did that in the right depth pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't completely sink. But the problem with a high or mid wing aircraft is they tend to sink a little bit quicker. So if you take like a Cessna, or like if you're thinking warbirds, like a B-24, pretty bad ditching aircraft, higher wing. That's because you got the fuselage getting submerged before the wing, because the wing wants to hold you up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's better to be in a low wing aircraft, such as like a Cherokee, like the stuff I fly. Um, just because you get a little bit. I mean, it's not like a major difference, but it gives you enough ample time.
So I have a question about that. So how like would a Corsair be if you had to ditch in that?
I feel like that'd be better than an Avenger. The nice thing about the Avenger is you're
Yeah.
sitting above the wing, but whereas those people maybe in the back, or
Yeah.
the
Well,
back
yeah,
observer
because you have
seats.
the that's completely underwater at that
Yeah, that
point.
would be so. Like I said, or if you've seen the film Unbroken, they covered that ditching pretty well. I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
book. I don't know if you've read the book either, but Laura Hildebrand, or whatever her last name is, but the author of that book, she was talking about how it's such a bad airplane to ditch because of basically because you're sitting below the water line,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people drown that way. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
um, but he didn't really have to worry about that too much. People are like, oh, he could have went out, but I'd rather him be, make it out alive. I honestly, I'm sad about the airplane being a wreck right now, but the guy made it out. That's all that matters. I mean,
Exactly. That's what we hope for.
planes are.
You
I
can't.
mean, planes are replaceable. I'm gonna plug Air Corps Aviation right here. They're magicians at machining parts. They're machining an entire P-47 right now, pretty much from scratch. So, I mean, it's doable to get things like that
Absolutely.
back in the air. So, and saltwater is a big issue with this one. I mean, I don't know if you heard about saltwater, what it does to aircraft. It kind of starts to corrode them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So
Did they get it out in time though, or
the problem
like
is I don't know if
once
it
it's
did.
in? Okay.
Yeah, it was like 23 hours or something like that. It was a long
Oh,
time. It was almost a day. If not, it might have been a
oof,
day.
that's not good. I didn't know
But
that. I thought they got it out within like 7 or 8 hours.
yeah,
So
it
I
took a
guess not.
while. I mean, quote me, don't quote me on that, but I think it was pretty long. So, but I heard the first, so, like a lot of people like to, I don't know if you douse it or submerge it in water, basically pure fresh water, to try to work out some of that salt water into the crevices and stuff.
Yeah, because it speed like you were saying earlier, it speeds up the corrosion
Yeah.
within like the. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So basically, we're just flushing out that, trying to decrease the salinity content.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they would do for that, is what I was told. I was reading in some of that Avenger forum I'm part of, where this is all we were seeing all weekend. Um, but basically they were talking about how that would be the course of action. You get some armchair restorers out there and stuff too, but
Naturally, naturally.
the one guy, he's an actual TBM restorer. He's restored one himself. So they were talking about how he would look over some of the saltwater parts getting messed up with saltwater and stuff. So, because a lot of these Navy birds were wrecks themselves. I mean,
Yeah.
there's
Oh, absolutely.
plenty of, like you said,
So I guess this is extremely off topic, but other than like just the pure logistical nightmare of raising an aircraft from, let's say, like a sunken aircraft carrier or something, they've been in the saltwater for so long that they may look good like underwater right now, but the second that they're removed, they basically fall apart. Okay.
yeah, that's like the issue with raising them. I mean, definitely there's been recoveries. I know off the coast of San Diego, there's a I think it's in like 700 feet of water. There's a TBD Devastator,
Really?
and it would be the only one of its kind in existence and like
Well, I
intact.
thought don't they have one at the Naval Air Museum?
I
The
believe that's
Devastator?
a Vindicator, if I remember.
Vindicator, you are
Yeah.
right. My bad.
So
I'm sorry.
yeah, I mean it's sad, but I mean if they can get it, they can get it. That'd be cool. But it's like you said, a logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
There's more people putting planes in the sea intentionally right now. I don't know if you heard about. I think it's Bahrain over in.
Yeah, they're dumping
Yeah,
like C-130s. Yeah.
yeah, just for like building natural reefs,
Which is good.
which is
That don't
cool.
get us wrong. It's cooler, I think, if they take like and I'm not saying this because I'm an aviation guy, but when they sink like a destroyer or
Yeah,
like old ships, like because they're cleaned completely out, so there's no like harmful byproducts. You don't have oil, stuff like that. But I think that just the video of them sinking is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a plus already. But yeah, they're cool natural reefs. I mean, people are doing it for diving excursions.
Oh yeah,
and things like that.
Yeah,
so.
tourism. It's huge. Oh.
But yeah, then I mean, I saw some close-up photos. They're all over the web. Otherwise I'd share my screen. You guys have probably already seen them. But yeah, it's pretty crumpled up in some places, but it's still in pretty much one piece. So pretty good outcome, or best outcome they could hope for. The guy's okay.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
There's people donating already basically to get it back to whatever. They're not sure whether they're going to go static or flying. I guess they have to go through that themselves and figure out this. They have to assess the damage. I don't even think they've come out with the cause of the crash yet, or the cause of the engine failure.
Yeah, no. So, yeah.
I mean, it could be a multitude of things, but no point in guessing right now. So
yeah. Well, it's interesting. This is personally such a me thing to take note of, but did you happen to know what markings the Avenger was in?
I didn't know.
It is in the markings of one of the TBMs that was lost in the Flight 19 incident.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So everyone was making jokes like, "Oh, it's back. It returned from the Bermuda Triangle." It's like, unfortunately,
it's an interesting story with some really wacky and interesting but wacky theories.
Well,
they showed up.
It's gotten so just, it's like the punchline of all these alien or mystery jokes now. But
yeah.
But
good outcome.
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, unfortunately, it won't be the last warbird we see getting into a little scuff up. But I mean, our goal here is to just kind of bring a couple news things to light.
Yeah,
or just discuss them every week here. But yeah, I mean, we'll be providing more content like this, hopefully on the weekly. Like I said, quick podcast episode like this. Of course, I'm going to plug the stickers. We have our normal size here, but then we also have our larger ones. You may have seen, if you've seen our vehicles or anything, we have the larger ones. We're going to put we're going to make a small quantity of those. So if you guys are interested in that, be sure to let us know. So then we'll probably put out some polls and things like that, or posts just to see what kind of interest there are with them. And then, yeah, we'll be at the Jamestown Fly-In next, actually in a week and a half here on the 1st of May.
No
we'll
kidding.
be in Jamestown Fly-In, so we'll be flying into there, weather permitting, of course. I'll be giving some airplane rides, and I think Max will just take along with me out there. So I will be doing that. Max will be going around probably pestering you guys for info on airplanes. But yeah, we're pretty excited for that. We got Grafton coming up as well the day after. Not sure if we're going to fly to that one or not yet. I mean, we'll have to wait and see, waiting on plane availability and things like that. But goal is to do that as well. But you'll see us at both of those as long as the weather lets them go on. But yeah, got some exciting stuff for the podcast. Spring is kind of here. I mean, if you're living in North Dakota right now, Eastern North Dakota,
especially, after it was snowing yesterday. Oh my gosh.
It's still windy as heck here. I mean, I don't know about down there, but
it's nice, but it is windy. Yeah. Looks can be deceiving.
Well, hopefully for those fly-ins, the temperature goes up by at least.
Yeah. Oh, let's hope, right? Oh my gosh.
But
cool.
Yeah, that's all I got. If you got anything.
Yeah, that's all I got too.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys tuning into this one. We'll again be doing these every week, so be sure just to hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube, or if you're on Spotify. Make sure you give us a follow and go around and share these to your friends. We really appreciate all the feedback we've been getting, and stories we've been hearing. It's the best part of it, in my opinion, is the stories. So.
Absolutely. Well, all right, Mr. Sam, you have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. See ya.